Hey everybody, welcome to the last full week of 2015's weekly horoscopes. That's right, next week's horoscopes are going to end on the 2nd of January, which means this is really the last full week of 2015 before we move on into 2016. It's really kind of exciting, maybe a little bit sad, depending on how you look at things. We got a lot of really crazy stuff going on this week, including a really big full moon at the end of this week. Christmas full moon, as a matter of fact, as it's going to actually be really full on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. It's a big one. But we're going to go ahead and see how that affects everybody, and we're going to get started as we always do with Aries. Aries, you guys are going to have some significant influence from the moon twice this week, as a matter of fact, as the moon kicks off the week in your sign on Sunday, just about wrapping up her time actually in your sign, and she's going to be, of course, in that T-squared position with Uranus, as she's in conjunction with Uranus, and that T-square, of course, is between Uranus, Mars, and Pluto, and also Mercury now, as a matter of fact, because Mercury's pretty close to Pluto, or close conjunction to Pluto at this point. Now, this T-square has been a bit of a pain in the you-know-what the last few weeks. It is about to break up as Mars starts to move on out of it. And the good news is that squared position with Uranus and Pluto that's been going on, we're going to get a break from that about June in 2016, which is really good. I'm really looking forward to that because I'm not an Aries or a Capricorn, but I'm tired of writing about it. I tell you, it's been really difficult. But of course, there's been a lot of really heavy lessons that have come from this aspect. But we'll get to that in June. Right now, this T-square, and especially with Mars being involved in it, is really all about relationships when it comes to your professional relationships specifically. And when you're talking about the same old crap that's been going on with these relationships, it really is time to make a change. As the moon moves on this week, the moon is going to move into Cardinal Grand Cross position with Uranus, Pluto, Mercury, and Mars, and it's only going to get worse before it gets better, of course. This is how we're going to end the week. So we start the week with the moon in your sign, and we end the week with that Cardinal Grand Cross, which is really making this situation even more difficult than it started out with. So the bottom line for all of this week, I hate to really make it seem like I have no good news for you. Of course, these challenges are heavy, but the good news is if you've been putting off making these changes, it really is time to stop putting that off and make these changes. Sometimes you need to really feel that frustration before you're just done with putting up with this crap already, so you can move on and do what it is that you've been meaning to do, basically. And when you got people in there that either aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing, or they're not contributing what they're supposed to be contributing, or they're just flat out getting in the way and causing problems, get them out of there. It's time. They gotta go. You know what I mean? Because the truth is, the more you focus on your frustration about what's going on there, the less time you're spending being productive and being proactive about what it is that you need to do. So this week, I'm unhappy to say it, but yes, there is difficulties. But the good news coming out of these difficulties, and Uranus is trine with Saturn, that is showing you your responsibilities to you. It really is time to focus on what you need to do and kick those people who are causing you problems to the curb. You don't need that in your life right now. And if you do it now, you can start off 2016 with a clean slate, ready to take on the world. So you guys have a great week with that. Taurus, the moon is going to move into your sign this week, and as she moves into your sign, she moves right directly into opposition with Venus, which is going to cause a little bit of problem, and it's going to be a very emotional one, as a matter of fact. Of course, you've got two very emotional planets sort of in opposition with each other. It can be very heavy, and this aspect really is all about money and whether or not you have it or not. Now, clearly, if it's an emotional experience, chances are you're not going to have the money. And this is one of those instances, especially right now around the holidays, where you feel like you just don't have the means to be able to provide enough. And it's not just for those around you. there's a big indication that you're having a problem providing for yourself at the same time, or not so much providing what you need, but getting what you want. Providing what we need is what we do on a daily basis, but how often can you just say, I'm going to spend money on me because I want to spend money on me? You know what I mean? That can be very difficult, especially around this time of year. Now, the good news is that by Tuesday, the moon's going to move into position, or I should say grand Earth trine position with Jupiter, Pluto, and Mercury. Now, these are very heavy, very positive. This is a very positive aspect. This is all about change. This is all about, really looking at what you're doing and expanding it and growing and making it bigger. And it's pointing at this old issue and showing you what you can do, because earth signs are all about doing, right? What it is that you can do to get past this situation for good. This is an old problem. You've probably dealt with it a million times. Hell, we've all dealt with it a million times. So this is an old problem. Why keep revisiting it? Why keep going over it? Why keep letting it get in your way? Now's the time for action, and this is what grand earth trines are all about, especially when you're talking about Jupiter and Pluto and Mercury. So your communication should reflect what it is that you want to do, not what it is that's bothering you. What your changes that you make and the expansion that you make, everything that you do on a day-to-day basis means something. So really make sure that what you're doing every day is productive, moving forward to a specific goal, and not so much worrying about what you don't have. The truth is in the pudding at this particular point. What you do means everything, and this grand earth trine this week is really going to kick you into gear to really make some positive changes before the year comes to an end, so that you can start off 2016 on the right foot. Get rid of that worry, get rid of that beating yourself up over things that are completely out of your control, and put yourself in a position to let all that stuff go and move forward and get things done for the beginning of the year. So really, even though we have that little bit of an opposition with the moon there, she is really coming in with some fantastic, absolutely fantastic energy for you guys to really get rocking and rolling and get ready for 2016. So you guys have a great week with that. Gemini, that old moon is coming into your sign this week, and it's going to be a bit of a doozy for you. I have to say that the moon is a doozy this week, period, for just about everybody. But for you guys, it's definitely significant. Wednesday and Thursday, the moon comes into your sign, and on Wednesday moves into opposition, or actually T-squared position, I should say, with Saturn and Neptune. And this is going to be a bit of an issue when you're talking about money here. Now, Saturn is all about responsibility. And we all know that our responsibility to ourselves and those we love in our own lives is to make money so that we can have a roof over our head and take care of our bills and feed people and do all of that stuff. But sometimes that making money can be really difficult. And when you've faced with a problem where you've taken care of your responsibilities, but you don't have anything left over for fun, it's very, very, very difficult. Now, at the same time, though, the moon moves into a very positive aspect with Uranus, reminding you that money isn't everything. It's not all about money when you look at it. A lot of it, there's a lot more things about you that are wonderful, and money is just, whether you have the money or not, is really irrelevant at that point. You kick ass being you, and you need to remember that. When it comes to things like maybe not having the money to have a huge Christmas tree and 10,000 presents, remember that the people around you are more concerned about having you there and having your energy and what you bring to the table, and not necessarily about all of the things that you can buy for them. You gotta think about that, you know what I mean? Especially nowadays when our holidays are so commercialized, they're all about money. It's not about the money, it is about you and you spending the time and you being there. Now, as the moon moves into Thursday, we begin our full moon. We're going to be dealing with this full moon. It's full for 2 days, and of course it's going to start in Gemini and end in Cancer. Thursday, Christmas Eve's full moon is definitely going to be a doozy as the moon moves into opposition with the sun. That's what a full moon is. And it may seem, you may start to feel that energy getting really, really, really intense on that day. Of course, there's going to be some little boom bahs and some little issues. And the big thing, of course, is feeling like everything is just kind of sort of wonky and falling apart, especially when it comes to your goals. You're ready to, spend a good holiday. You're ready to spend time with your family. You're ready to spend some happy time. But all of a sudden, here comes one of those, it's like a wrench that comes into your plans, and you're like, oh no, everything's going to fall apart. Avoid the frustration. And you really want to avoid the frustration, especially as the moon's aspect with Mars is beautiful right now. Hey, you're not a one-man band, okay? Think about it. How much support do you have? Make the most of it. This isn't all about you. Allow people to come in and help you out because they have a beautiful energy, especially when your energy seems to be a little bit spread thin and sort of used up, if you know what I mean. So when it comes down to it, your Christmas is not ruined. Everything is not going to be ruined, of course. Yes, of course, there's some frustrations. But are you going to be a Gemini and deal with it? Or, and deal with it in the Gemini way, or are you going to sit there and beat yourself up because you don't think you can deal with it accordingly? The choice is up to you. And if I were you, I'd make the choice to deal with it and move on and enjoy my day. So you guys have a great week with that. Cancer, if you've been harboring some negative thoughts in your mind at all recently, this week it seems to be kind of sort of just there all over the place, unfortunately. Cancers, of course, being the nurturers of the zodiac, they love to make everybody else happy, and they will go out of their way to make everybody else happy. And if they feel like they're not doing a good enough job making everybody else happy or giving them all of those things that they want, they really take that very, very, very personally for themselves and have a tendency sometimes to kind of beat themselves up over it a little bit. You don't want to do that, of course, but this week as the moon moves into full moon position on Friday, Christmas Day, we've got a full moon on Christmas for the first time in a really long time. In fact, 1977 was the last Christmas full moon that we had. That just so happens to be the year I was born, by the way. So, no, I don't remember it, unfortunately. I'm looking forward to it this year, though. But it is very, very, very intense, of course, because obviously the moon is in opposition with the sun. And these negative thoughts are really going to become more intense as she moves into that full moon position and moves into your sign on Friday. And then Saturday, she takes herself out of opposition with the sun and moves herself into cardinal grand cross position with Mars, with Uranus, with Pluto and Mercury, and it just seems that everything seems to kind of sort of fall apart at once. And all of these negative thoughts that you've been harboring inside of your head are really starting to come true. This is what it's going to look like. Now, before we go into this, I'm going to go out in the garden and eat worms mentality. The moon also is in beautiful position as she makes a grand sextile with Venus and Jupiter. Now, this is a beautiful thing because it really does prove that love conquers all. And when you're flipping around in your mind, you're beating yourself up in your head, this aspect is reminding you that there's a lack of love for yourself in there somewhere. And that's why you're doing this whole beating yourself up thing. You don't want to do that, of course. And if you are having any kind of self-love issues, well, then, of course, you're going to beat yourself up for not being quote-unquote perfect. Nobody's perfect, by the way. That stuff doesn't even exist. Jupiter is all about expansion, too. It's all about changing things and making them better. It's all about growth, and this is part of your growth process. So when you think about it, yes, this is going to be a little bit of a difficulty. It will be a little bit intense. But really, is it there specifically, or is this happening specifically to ruin your life? Or is it happening to kind of sort of teach you something? when it comes down to it, every single time these negative aspects happen, it's happening to teach you something. Your best bet is to get out of your head and get productive. If you can change it, great. And if you can't, let it go, for crying out loud, because you have no control over it. Take care of what you have control over, and don't worry about the things that you have no control over. And if you can do that, this whole full moon thing, cardinal grand cross thing, yada yada yada, really isn't going to be a big deal for you. So you guys have a great week with that. Leo, spending time with those that you love is, of course, number one on your list this week. And of course it is, because it's the peak of the holiday season. And what better way to spend the peak of the holiday season than being surrounded by as many people that you love as possible. But as always, there's always those people who unfortunately are missing from those people, whether or not they've moved on, they've moved far away, and you don't get to see them as often as you'd like to, or you've moved far away and you don't get to see them as often as you like to, or they have passed on out of this world and they're in the spirit world, and unfortunately you can't visit them. Now this is, of course, the big difficulty that everybody, doesn't matter what sign you are, has to deal with during these holidays, is those people that are missing from those fun times. And you'll find probably this week that you'll spend a lot of time with those people on your mind, and it is going to be very emotionally painful because, of course, you miss these people. However, the reason why they're on your mind so much is because chances are they're around, and a lot of times it is their way of letting you know that they are still around, by popping in your mind, by showing you things that would remind you of them. There's all kinds of different ways that our loved ones in spirit give us those signs that they're there. We almost always go to an emotional place with it. But this week, honor them. Honor their memories. Share stories about them. Don't hesitate to talk about them. Funny stories, laugh and all of these things. When you do this, you're incorporating them into your holiday. You're incorporating them into the fun times that you're having. And it kind of sort of makes you feel like you're a little bit closer to them, even though they're not physically there. The truth is, with loved ones, once they pass on, they're always there. Nothing changes except for the fact that you can't go up and physically hug them anymore, which is very difficult. I know it's very difficult, but at the same time, it does make it a little bit easier knowing they're always there and they've always got your back. So this week, honor those people who aren't there anymore. Or if they've moved away and you just aren't going to be able to see them, pick up that phone and call them. Don't sit there and think about them and wish you could see them, but then just don't pick up the phone and call them. Send them a message. Tell them you're thinking about them. Do something. Whatever it is that you do, make sure that you tell the people that you love them. And if they're in the spirit world, that's okay. You can tell them too. I promise you, they can hear you. So you guys have a great week with that. Virgo, Jupiter is in a prime spot. A prime spot for awesomeness right now, guys. And it's really, really, really important to identify, grab onto, and work with this energy now, because Jupiter is about to bring some difficulties coming up in the new year. So really, it's really important for you guys to pay attention now, if you know what I mean. As Jupiter is, of course, in grand sextile position with Pluto and Mercury and Venus, and later on in the week, the moon moves into a position to create a grand sextile with Jupiter and Venus, of course, at the same time. Now, love is big in this, obviously, because Venus is involved. We've got change, we've got communication, we've got making things bigger and making things possible, growth, all kinds of stuff. No negative aspects here. This is an open door for you guys to do whatever it is that you want. And the only challenges that are going to come up are the challenges that you create in your mind. With that whole worrying thing, you guys know what I'm talking about, right? This week is a fantastic opportunity, career-wise, money-wise, getting things done. Jupiter's energy, of course, is in the house of day-to-day duty. So when you're talking about the house of daily duty, you're talking about what you're doing every single day. What is it that you're doing every day? Are you actually going out there and being productive? If you are, expect miracles and expect really good things to happen. If you're not doing anything on a day-to-day basis, so you're not going out there and attempting to get that job that you want or the advancement that you want, well, then you're wasting this energy, guys. You can't waste, or you should not be wasting this energy, because it's ripe for the picking right now. So this week really is a powerful week for you guys, and chances are it's going to be that way next week too. We're talking getting those things that you've been wanting now, so you can start off 2016 really just having what it is that you want. So mind what you're doing on a day-to-day basis today or this week, guys. None of that worrying, none of that nothing that's negative, period. It's positive. You want a new job, go out and get it. Trust me, you're not going to be sorry about going and getting things done when you think about it, because this is one of those types of energies where everything you touch turns to gold, and you want to make sure that you snap up as much of that gold as possible. So you guys have a great week with that. Libra, Mars is really just hitting you a little bit hard there as he's continuing his T-squared position with Uranus, Pluto, and now Mercury. And of course at the end of the week, as the moon moves into position to make this a cardinal grand cross, it's only going to get better. Now of course every Libra just heard me say that and they went, oh, right? Of course, this is a very heavy aspect. It's been a difficult aspect with Mars. Mars is all about frustration and ambition. Do you have your ambitions? Great. Then you need to make those plans to make sure those things take place. But of course, when you got something, an aspect like this going on, it kind of seems like you just want to throw up in the air and your arms up in the air and go, why bother? I mean, you know, it's like I'm trying to fight against a brick wall here because it's not working. No, Mars is about aggression too, and it goes both ways. Now, the typical person has two choices when it comes down to it. When you're moving full speed ahead, especially in projects involving your career this week, and you're moving into obstacle after obstacle after obstacle, you've got two choices. Kick down those obstacles as you go and move forward, or get pissed off about it and do nothing. I guarantee you, if you get pissed off about it and do nothing, nothing's going to happen for you. You got to blow through those obstacles, and those obstacles are there. This whole aspect is happening really to give you the right amount of frustration, just enough frustration to be done dealing with this crap, basically. And Mars is really in your relationship house. So it has a lot to do with the people that you work with or the relationships that you're currently in that involve your career. So this week, yes, these aspects are going to be heavy for you guys. But at the same time, this is the energy you need to really start making some changes. Rather than complaining about how things are, it's time to make some changes instead and really step up to the plate and show these people who they're dealing with here, okay? I'm not saying go around beating everybody up or anything, but you have to be your voice. You have to be the one that speaks for you, because to be honest with you, nobody's going to do that for you. That's not how life works. It does work occasionally, but overall, when you want something, you've got to be the one to step up to the plate and go get it. So let's ditch this sort of head-heart argument that Libras typically have with, you know, the argument between what you think you should do and what you feel you want to do, and ditch it to the curb. It's gone. Go with your intuition. Go where you're pulled to go. And if people have a problem with it, that's their problem, not yours. So you guys have a great week with that. Scorpio, Venus is in a beautiful grand sextile with Jupiter, Pluto, and Mercury this week. And she's got a beautiful, loving energy to provide to you when it comes to making advancements in your career and making money, of course, and growth and expansion with Jupiter there as well. when it comes down to it, when you're looking at life and you're looking at making advancements, you're looking at making money, and you're looking at the career that you want, there's one thing that will make or break this situation. How much do you love yourself, and how much does that love you feel make you feel that you deserve to have these things? If you've got any kind of self-doubt at all, you are dead in the water in this situation. Now, Venus is in your sign this week to help you understand just how much that self-love has, how important it is in these situations, and how important it is to get what you want. And of course, the dark moon is in your sign this week as well, really trying to help you see that these changes are needed in order for you to succeed. It's a big deal here, okay? I mean, people talk about it all the time. People hear me talk about it all the time. I mean, all the time. And it gets to the point where it's white noise after a while, but you're hearing it all the time because it's true. If you don't feel that you deserve everything you've ever wanted, you're not going to get it, because you're not going to put the energy into it. That's just how that works. This week, it's all about taking that time to look in the mirror and really truly look at yourself. Tell yourself, say it out loud into the mirror, whether it sounds weird or not. I deserve to have whatever I want, and by golly, I'm going to go out there and get it. This is all there is to it. So if there are those career advances that you want to make in your career, if it's the money that you want to make, if it's growth and expansion in what you're doing every single day, it's all yours. You just have to believe that you're worthy of it. And if you don't, that's okay. You can train yourself to believe that you do. Just keep looking in that mirror and telling yourself, looking at yourself and saying, hey, you know what? You're pretty cool. I love you. We got this. We rock it. We deserve it. And you keep telling yourself that until you feel it. Once you feel it, you're in the right place to go out there and get everything it is that you want. So you guys have a great week with that. Sagittarius, happy birthday to the last of the Sagittarians born this week. We've got just a couple of days this week of the sun being in Sagittarius before he moves on to shine some light on Capricorn. And of course, we've got Saturn in your sign. Now, this squared position between Saturn and Neptune is ugly, okay? And I'm sorry to report that ugly is not going away anytime soon. It is set for the rest of the year and beyond, well into 2016. So it's going to be there for a while to teach you some pretty big lessons, unfortunately. But that's a good thing, actually, because learning lessons helps you let go of old patterns, old mindsets, old thought patterns, old crap, and move on and be ready for new stuff. And we always, of course, need that growth, and we need to be prepared to keep moving forward and change. Change is a big thing. Now, for you mutable signs like Sagittarius, change should be a little bit easier for you. But of course, Sagittarians want things done on their terms, right? This is where it gets a little bit sticky, okay? And this is where this aspect comes in to really help you see that sometimes your terms aren't exactly the way that you need to learn this lesson. Now, this squared position, of course, this week is all about money, and it does revolve all around money in terms of your own responsibilities to making money and budgeting money. You may feel at this time this week that money is a difficulty and that you're having a really hard time with money, or that, quite frankly, you don't have any of it, period. And that's a difficulty in itself. But Saturn's trine position with Uranus, who does go direct this week and ends his retrograde pattern this week, is pointing to you and telling you that you're a money-making machine if you so choose to be. I mean, really, when you think about it, the typical person with money is sitting there worried about money. I don't have enough money. If only I had more money. If only I made more money. And then what happens? You get a bit of a raise at work. Now you have more money. You still don't have enough money. So then you get another raise. And then what happens? You still don't have enough money. No, this is the pattern. This is what money does to people. You will never make enough money, at least enough money to be happy. Not unless you have millions and millions of dollars rolling in. And then you know what? Some people still aren't happy. It's not about how much money you have. It's about how you feel about the money that you do have and how you feel about yourself in terms of handling that money. So when it comes down to it, need money? Go out and make it. You're a money-making machine when you think about it. And you're Sagittarians. The amount of energy that you put into everything that you do, think about how much money you really could be making if you got out of that old mindset of, I'm just stuck here in this money rut, okay? That needs to go. Kick that to the curb. It's done with. And put yourself in a position of knowing that money is going to come to you, whether you make it, whether it's coming back to you because of something else, whatever. Abundance comes to you if you open the door and allow it to come through. So you guys have a great week with that. Capricorn, happy birthday, Capricorn. The sun is moving into Capricorn this week, and I want to take the time to say a very special happy birthday to a crazy, wonderful, beautiful lady that I've had the pleasure of working with for years. She owns Off the Cuff magazine, and of course her name is Sprinkles Nixon. Happy birthday, Sprinkles. She is a fantastic, wonderful, absolutely fantastic person, and I adore her. And she is a Christmas baby. I hope she has a fantastic birthday, and that it's not just all about Christmas. You have some beautiful birthday memories also on the day as well. Now, it's a big deal, of course. The sun's in Capricorn, and Capricorn is the only sign that ends and begins the year every single year. They're the only sign cool enough to be able to handle that responsibility, of course. And we got a full moon as the moon moves in opposition of that Capricorn sun towards the end of the week. But before we go into that mess, okay, we're going to look at the positives really quick. Of course, Mercury is in conjunction with Pluto, which is in your sign, and these two planets are forming a grand sextile with Jupiter and Venus. Now, this is all about making money. This is all about what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. This is all about making advancements and changes in your career, and it's a beautiful time to really focus on how you're communicating those changes. Of course, communicate them in a positive way. Be excited about it. Be ready to be even more excited about these changes, because you never know. These changes could be things that you have been wanting to do, and you could get some pretty exciting changes that you didn't know were coming either, which could be really cool at the same time. And it is, of course, all about making money. So those doors of abundance are really open to you guys. Now, of course, we do have that T-squared position with Uranus, which is moving direct, which is really good, and Mars, and of course Pluto and Mercury there that are in conjunction. And as the week comes to an end, the moon's moving into opposition of that Pluto and that Mercury, which means cardinal grand cross time. Now, this is a sticky one. Any kind of grand cross is just sticky, and it's a pain in the rear. However, you've got this beautiful aspect with all of this fantastic energy, and then you've got this other aspect which is a bit of a difficulty, and it's going to cause frustrations because it seems like things aren't moving the way that they're supposed to, right? There's a very clear indication here that you've got to choose sides, right? And when it comes down to all of this stuff that's going good for you, but everybody else is falling apart over here, it's not my circus, not my monkey's time as far as I'm concerned. You lend a helping hand where you can, but don't let this mess over here distract you from everything that you can have over here. The truth is, they'll get whatever they need to get learned themselves. They'll learn those lessons if you let them do what they need to do. Give them a helping hand, of course. Just don't do anything for them, but really focus on what you can do over here, because what you can do over here, this is for you. This is your advancement, and this is not about being selfish. This is about teaching those people that this is what you got to do in order to be the fantastic, amazing, awesome, and wonderful Capricorn that you are. So you guys have a great week with that. Aquarius. Aquarians are about to feel the love this week, and that is a beautiful thing for anybody. But Aquarians are generally the loners of the zodiac, not because we're mean or nobody likes us or we smell bad or anything like that. It's actually because we prefer to be alone, believe it or not. Aquarians are the hermits of the zodiac. They tend to spend more time in their heads than they do around other people. But really, Aquarians, whether you want to admit it or not, you love being surrounded by people that love you, of course, and people that you love, and that support is really a big deal, a bigger deal than most Aquarians make it out to be. This week is all about being surrounded by that love and support, and of course, really taking the time to enjoy that love and support. You gotta step away from whatever it is that you're so focused on long enough to really feel that support, number one. Number two, this is the big in here, you really have to be open to receiving that love. Now let's think about this for a minute, because this is a typical Aquarian thing here, okay? When you're talking about other people, Aquarians, they're humanitarians, so we love to help other people. You got a problem? Let me come in and help you out. Let me give you a helping hand there. Let me help you up there, sir. But while we're laying on the ground and somebody's coming up to give us a helping hand, we're like, no, that's okay. I can do it myself. Just leave me. I can do it myself. We're so independent. We think that we can do everything on our own. Now, I understand this, but let's look at this for what it is. Why would you deny that person the blessing of helping you back after you've helped them? Come on now, really? We are not the only people on the planet, and we're not the only people in our world, and we certainly are not people that don't need help from time to time. We're just as human as everybody else. Get that? The rest of you Aquarians out there, we're just as human as everybody else. Allow those people to come in and give you that support, because the truth is, whether you want to admit it or not, we really do need it, and we really do appreciate it deep down inside. So that support is there. Take it. Don't deny it. Don't chase it away. Don't act like you don't need it because you got this all on your own. Give yourself a break, for crying out loud, and let these people help you. Let them support you, and for crying out loud, let them love you. You guys have a great week with that. And finally, Pisces. Neptune squared position with Saturn is not going anywhere in the foreseeable future, I'm afraid. It is going to be there for quite a while. And right now, this aspect is really all about old mindsets, very deep emotional mindsets that have to do with money and your responsibility in providing that money, or providing financial stability to yourself and, of course, those around you. Now, everybody goes through those times where money is a difficulty, or funds are thin, or whatever. But if you're feeling like you're stuck in this trap where money seems to elude you wherever you go, it's really easy for that, what's going on in front of you, to feed these mindsets of, I don't deserve to have this money, because no matter how hard I work, it's just not coming to me. Now, this mindset is the big giant wall that's standing in between you and everything that you want. When it comes down to it, and this is true for everybody, not just Pisces, but these are very deep, deep, deep roots. We are raised to believe that money just doesn't grow on trees, and it just doesn't come easily, and you've got to work, and not really get a whole lot out of it, barely enough to survive. This is a mindset that only you can cut the cords on, and just because you were raised with it does not mean that you can't cut those cords. You absolutely can. It's time for you to look in that mirror, just like the Scorpios are doing this week, and really say, you know what, I deserve to have money. No, I deserve to have the things that I want, and I deserve to provide the things that my family wants. I deserve to have it all if I really want to have it all. And it's not even about the money anymore. Don't focus on the money to get those things. Focus on manifesting the things that you want instead. And don't worry about whether you have the money to do it or not. Because while you're getting those things, the money is just being provided without you even realizing it. This is a big, big, big thing for you guys to really break this week and really focus on breaking it and spend an entire day this week not thinking about, not worrying about, not being upset about money, whether you have it or not. Because the truth is, the more you do this, the more you're going to be stuck in this cycle of, I don't have it. So you guys, be brave. I know you can do this. And have a great week with that. Thanks so much for watching the horoscopes this week. I'm Melissa Bruce, the Heavy Metal Sidekick. That 13-card tarot prediction for 2016. You guys have 1 week. Count it, 1 week to get those orders in. And that before that offer is closed until 2017. You have until December 31st, midnight Pacific time, in order to get those orders in. So make sure that you get your order in before it's too late. I hope you all have a fantastic holiday, a wonderful Christmas if you're celebrating it, and we'll be seeing you guys next year. Have a great one.